Yeah, I think, and I could be jumping the gun here, but I think I've heard Brett Bartholomew say the best ability is availability. So I think to kind of build on top of that is regarding if I can string, let's say, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years of training together without, copying many knocks or getting, tendinopathies or some kind of like, sneaky grade 1 muscle strains. My pure availability from training over that time is going to be a massive component of me if I am sprinting and I'm doing speed work. It is to getting faster. But part of that is that injury resilience is going to be spent in the gym working on like eccentric hammy strength, adductor work, calf stuff. All that resilience work is just going to play a massive part to someone being available to then train to then get faster.
I think it's the sport specificity discussion, really, isn't it? Where, if I'm working with an AFL player, I don't make them better at AFL. I make them more available for training. Therefore, they get better because they get a stronger PhD in their sport. And Goodman and Flat likes to use the term PhD in your sport. And I think trackies are the same. You keep them on the track. That's where they're going to get faster. You don't do a, for argument's sake, you don't do a heavy box squat necessarily to make someone faster. You make them more load resilient. You make them stronger to tolerate the loads of what their sprint coach is going to give them, because their sprint coach will make them faster. They can't make them faster if they're at home icing up. They can only get faster when they're there. And I think to your comment, George, I don't think speed is overrated. I think potentially the contribution of speed training is overrated.
That was probably a better way of putting it, yeah.
I think when someone's fast, it's very valuable. I've worked with a number of coaches, and to be honest, a strong theme that a lot of coaches do say is you recruit speed, you don't make speed. And I don't think that's 100% true, but it's probably 98% true. There's very rarely do you see someone enter a team sport environment not fast and they get fast. Even the fastest people that get celebrated at the moment, like Josh Adokar, Saab, in the AFL, you've got a number of Indigenous players that just launch off that half forward and small forward position. But they didn't learn to get fast when they joined football. They would be fast regardless of playing football or not. And that's where it's such a tough environment to contribute enough time to really make someone faster. And we've talked about it here a bit, why the dedication of someone to go somewhere for a 6-week block in the off season is where they could potentially find speed. You're not going to find speed with 10 minutes every other day at the club. You kind of need to go off on your own and get that speed training yourself. And ironically, the people that hunt out off-season speed training the most are usually the fastest people because they enjoy running fast. The same as the strongest people will usually lift the most amount of weight in the off-season. And the weakest and the slowest will probably avoid training the most in the off-season. So we tend to gravitate to what we enjoy. So if we can get more and more team sport athletes that aren't fast doing dedicated speed programs in downtimes, then potentially we could start to influence that.
I mean, Buddy Morris sort of says it best to me. It's just common sense training. What does the position entail? They're usually the qualities that are going to be fairly important. So as a coach, we're there to facilitate those adaptations, and they're the primary objective. So, for example, Adokar and Saab, they're wingers. Speed's probably going to be a pretty important factor for them, as too is their ability to vertical leap and things like that. So, like I mentioned before, maybe skill for a winger isn't as important from a passing standpoint, considering they don't really pass it a whole lot, but their ability to score in the corner, there's another thing that they can work on. So,
if you're recruiting a fast prop, you might be looking down the speed avenue a little bit too much.
Exactly.
It's all well and good they can run fast, but if they get pushed over and run over the top of, well, what's the point? So, I think sport specificity and position specificity is definitely a big part of it.